Hello and welcome to today's session. I'm Vidisha and I'm going to be taking up this training session for you. If you've noticed, what we're doing in the past few sessions is improving your vocabulary with respect to various aspects of your life. For example, you've already learned how to speak expressively about your house or even about your school. So today what we're going to do is try and enhance your vocabulary with respect to rooms. Now there are various kinds of rooms all around you. There are rooms at home, there are rooms at public places, and various other rooms. So let's see what we have as the objectives of today's session. What we're going to do today is try and learn about the anatomy of a room. That is, what is contained inside a room. We'll also learn about the layout of rooms, the shapes and sizes of various kinds of rooms. You will also learn about furnishing or interior decoration of rooms, followed by learning about your classroom, which is in fact a very important room at this stage of your life. You'll also learn about domestic space and public place, and about how to describe a one-bedroom flat, because it's a flat but it's also just a room. So let's get going with today's session, beginning with the anatomy of a room. Now in your workbooks, there is a picture with the heading Anatomy of a Room. Look at it carefully. The room is viewed from within. It has a geometrical shape which is cubic in this structure. We may call a room square-shaped depending on the dimensions, or circular in case it's like that. There may be a number of doors and windows. The floor or the ceiling may be at more than one level within the same room. What about layout of rooms? Layout of rooms consists of a design or a plan of the room, its position within the building where it is, the size and the shape of the room. It shows the way things are arranged within the room. The layout also pertains to the construction stage, to the work of the architect that he's put in, but it's not to be confused with furnishing. Furnishing of a room, in fact, is the articles of furniture and other useful or decorative items in a room. Furniture that you may be familiar with is beds, tables, chairs, wardrobes, or even clothes rack. And certain useful items which also fall under furnishings are curtains, cushions, mats, cooker, the cutlery there, or even the crockery. Also, certain decorative items come under furnishing of a room, such as carpets and drapes, pictures, decoration pieces, and even potted plants. Now what you can see in your workbooks is a classroom, and that in fact is one of the most important rooms in your life at the moment. So what are the things that you can see in your classroom? Yes, there is a ceiling to your classroom. There is a door and a window. There is also the floor. Now there are certain words which I'm going to mention, and you're going to try and find out the meaning of these words. A chair. Look around in your classroom. Can you spot a chair? A desk. Look around for the desk. Where is it placed? The clock. Scissors. Is there a pair of scissors anywhere around you? Chalk. pencil, compass. Can you see a compass anywhere? A pen, a bag, a book, notebooks, a dictionary, a table. What about the blackboard in your class? Now, can you try and describe your classroom with respect to the items that I've mentioned? You might be able to see these items somewhere in the room, or maybe in your pencil boxes, or in your bag. Try and give a description of your classroom. Think about it. I mentioned a chair, a desk, a clock, pair of scissors, chalk, pencil, a compass, pen, bag, books, notebooks, a dictionary, a table, and the blackboard. So when you look at your classroom and try and describe it, you may say that the teacher's table is positioned on one end of the room. A dictionary, a box of chalk, and maybe a pair of scissors are lying in the drawer of that table. Have you noticed how the word C-H-A-L-K is pronounced? It's chalk and not chalk, as some people mispronounce it. Now these items may be lying in your teacher's table. The blackboard is on the wall behind it. And since all of you sit facing it, we will consider this as the front of a classroom. Now there is probably a clock also somewhere in your class for the benefit of the teacher. If you look at the classroom given in your workbooks, the walls are painted white. So is the ceiling. The flooring is beige in color. Beige is a color which is very light. It's spelt as B-E-I-G-E. Now the door and the window are opposite each other on the remaining walls of the classroom. There is a single desk and a chair to indicate where the students sit. Can you see that in the picture? Yes. There are two students also in the classroom, a boy and a girl. This means, yes, it means that the school is co-educational. What is a co-educational school? It's a school where boys and girls study together. The students carry bags to school. These contain their books and notebooks. Their pencil box would contain a pen, a pencil, and a compass, along with other stationery items. Now, what I'm going to do now is speak certain sentences. You can see a few objects in your workbooks, and you have to match the sentences with the shown objects. So I'm going to speak the sentences one by one. They are rectangular. It is round. Look carefully. It is round. It is very big. It is very big. She is tall. Look carefully. She is tall. It is very long. They are young. Who do you think is being referred to? They are young. Did you manage to get most of them right? Let's check. They are rectangular. The correct answer for this was the scales shown in the picture. She is tall. Yes, you can see the picture of the teacher. She is tall. They are young. Yes, the three little children shown are young. It is round. Yes, that is for the clock shown in the picture. And what is very long? It is the longer pencil shown in the picture. It is very big. Yes, that's a picture of the school shown. It is very big. Okay, now listen carefully to what I'm saying. The schoolroom was very big. The teacher seemed so tall. This is partly because the students were young. I was amongst them. There was an alarm clock on her desk. It was round. She gave us rulers. They were rectangular. She then checked our pencils. My pencil was short. She gave me another pencil, which was very long. I could hardly write with it. Have you listened carefully? Okay. Now, if you've been listening carefully, you're going to get all the answers correct. I will read out a sentence to you and then ask you a question. You have to pick the right option. So listen carefully once again. The teacher seemed so tall. This is partly because the students were young. I was amongst them. What do you think is the age group of the speaker? And your three options are infancy, kindergarten, or teenage. What do you think is the right answer? Infancy, kindergarten, or teenage? Yes, the right answer is kindergarten. And you've already done kindergarten in your session for schools, haven't you? Great. Okay, I'm sure by now you're looking very carefully at your classroom and you're able to express yourself much better with the help of what we've learned. So if we quickly recap what we've learned about the classroom, you've learned about the layout of the classroom, the kind of furniture that is there, about the teacher and the teaching aids such as chalks and dusters, the students which are shown in the workbook, the contents of the bags of students around you and your own bag. Okay, now let's do a fun exercise. Now what I'm going to read out is the names of certain people, and you have to find out in which room will you find that person. The options are already given in your workbooks, so listen carefully and choose the right option. I'll help you with the first one. An actor. Look carefully at the options in front of you. Where are you going to find an actor? Yes, the correct option is studio. Now I'll mention some other people. Teachers. Where will you find some teachers? Two convicts. Where are you going to find two convicts? A secretary. In which room will you find a secretary? Scholars. Scholars. Where will you find a writer? A writer. How about a surgeon? Where will you find a surgeon? A chef. In which room are you likely to find a chef? I'm sure you got most of these right. Let's look at the answers. An actor, as I said earlier, is to be found in the studio. Where will you find some teachers? You will find some teachers in the staff room. What about two convicts? Correct, in the prison cell. A secretary. A secretary will be found in the office. How about scholars? Yes, a library is a place to look out for scholars. A writer. Okay, a writer may be found in the study. Where will you find a surgeon? In the operation theatre. And a chef will be found in kitchen. Okay, now that you've been able to match the right people to the right rooms, let's try and practice this in sentences. I'll speak out some sentences. There will be a blank and you have to fill the blank with the correct room. The writer was in his dash writing his greatest book. The writer was in his dash writing his greatest book. The answer, of course, is study. The writer was in his study. The surgeon was called to the dash for an emergency surgery. The surgeon was called to the dash for an emergency surgery. Correct, it's the operation theatre. The third sentence is, a group of scholars was reading in the college dash. Where do you think a group of scholars was reading? Yes, that's right, in the library. The reporters waited for the actor at the gate of the dash where he was shooting. The reporters waited for the actor at the gate of the dash where he was shooting. And the correct answer is studio, because the actor will be found at the studio, won't he? Okay, now that you've done this exercise, I'm sure you feel more confident in talking about various kinds of people and where they might be found. Let's look at domestic place and public place. Domestic relates to the home and to family life. One's domestic space is the space within the four walls of the house. Right now, let's take a look at various rooms within the home, that is, the rooms within our domestic space. There is the dining room, the dining area in a living room, the bedroom, a nursery, drawing room, or the parlor, or sitting room. I'm sure you've all heard these words at some time or the other, and maybe you're wondering about some of them as to what they are. Let's try and get a clear definition of what each is. What is a bedroom? A bedroom is a place where we sleep. And what is a living room? A place to relax. A drawing room is for entertaining guests. And like we said in our session on homes, it's the more formal space than the living room. What is a dining room? A dining room is for taking our meals. And a kitchen is a cooking area. The study is a quiet place to read or to do some work. A dressing room is a place for clothes or for dressing up. Now you've also gone to various kinds of public places, haven't you? What about public places? What are they? They are areas other than the home, and that's what you generally consider public places. These are available for use to the general public. The road, the street, parks, and marketplaces are some very obvious examples. Waiting rooms in maybe the train station, or public libraries, or auditoriums, maybe even gymnasiums, are public places that you have visited. Do not allow any confusions to come into your mind regarding the ownership of these properties, that is, whether it is public or private. It's more about who uses these properties. So public places, like I said earlier, which you might be familiar with, are theatre, auditorium, restaurant, banquet hall, waiting room, or a lounge. What is an office in your opinion? An office is a workplace. A showroom, on the other hand, is a large shop. What is a waiting room? It is a place to wait. A reading room is a place to read in an institution. A gymnasium is a place to exercise indoors. A lounge is an institutional waiting room, and an auditorium is a hall for functions. What is a common room? A common room is a large living room in a hostel. What we'll be doing next is, I'll be reading out a few names of certain rooms, and you have to identify whether these are domestic space or public place. Ready for the exercise? Okay, the first one is office. Do you think office is a domestic space or is it public place? Next is kitchen. Kitchen. Bedroom. What is a bedroom? Common room. Common room. Showroom. Showroom. Study. Study. Theatre. Waiting room. Classroom. Living room. Lounge. Gymnasium. Which ones do you think are domestic space and which are the public place rooms? Let's take a look now. What about domestic space? Let's see if you got your answers right. The first one is kitchen, followed by bedroom. Next is study. And the last one is living room. Now the lounge is something which is usually, at least in India, used in commercial or public organizations, whereas abroad in certain countries it is also used in terms of domestic space. Many people call their living room a lounge. What about the rest of them? Are they all public place? Yes. Well, in an office also you could possibly have a kitchen, but that is usually called pantry and not kitchen. So which ones fall under public place? Let's take a look. The office, the common room, showroom, theatre, waiting room, classroom, lounge, and the gymnasium. Now, if you look at the functional variation and look in your workbooks, there is a square with 4 sections. One has the bedroom and the living room. The next one has showroom, auditorium, and waiting room, followed by the third square containing classroom, gymnasium, and common room. And the last one has study, kitchen, and lounge. Let's take a closer look at what this functional variation is really all about. Now, the bedroom and the living room are purely domestic space. The study, kitchen, or lounge in a house differ from those in institutions. Like I said earlier, the kitchen, if it exists in institutions, it is usually called pantry. Next is showrooms, theatres, and waiting rooms are public places. And classrooms for the students, gyms for members, and common rooms are for specified people. Now, these 3 are restricted areas for those who have business being there. It is the business of students to be there in the classroom, that of the members to be there in the gym. And for specified people, there are common rooms. Now what we are going to do is take a look at Meghna's home. We will get to know a detailed description of what Meghna's home is all about. Let's look at the layout of the flat. Listen carefully now. Meghna lives on the 4th floor of an apartment block with her sister. There are 2 rooms in the flat, a living room and a bedroom. Now, the living room also serves as the dining room, and at the same time it is the sitting room. The dining table is arranged close to the kitchen. There is a carpet in the sitting area, or the lounge as you may call it. On the carpet, a sofa set is arranged around a coffee table. The bedroom has an attached bathroom and a balcony. Let's now take a look at the furnishings of the bedroom. The furnishings include the bed, and that also has a bed sheet and pillowcase. Next comes the cabinet, which is there for personal belongings. The personal belongings are inside the cabinet. Now, what's in the wardrobe? The wardrobe has clothes. There is also a dressing table. And what does the dressing table contain? It contains a hairbrush, hair dryer, and a comb, besides other things, of course. Now let's take a look at how a description of the bedroom can be made. The 2 sisters share a bed. The bed is arranged against one wall of the room. It is covered with a pink bed cover. The pillows are blue in color. They have a wardrobe for their clothes. They also have a bedside cabinet for other personal belongings. A brush, a comb, and a hair dryer lie on a dressing table in the corner of the room. Now, did you notice that earlier I just spoke about the items which are there in the bedroom, the furnishings. And now what we've done is, with the help of these words, which the items are, we've been able to create a description of the bedroom. So this is how you learn to express yourself. You first identify objects which are there in that room, and then you create sentences utilizing the objects that you've identified. That's how you'll be able to describe any room. Furnishings of the living room. Carpet, sofa, cushions, television, study table, bookshelves, and dining table. Now let's try to utilize these words for creating a description of the living room. The first thing we can say is that the living room is multi-purpose. How do we know this? Because there's a study table there, there's a sofa there, and there's also a television, as well as some bookshelves. So it will be used for many purposes, won't it? Now there is a carpet in one corner. A sofa is placed on the carpet. It has a set of colorful cushions arranged on it. At the end of the carpet, there is a study table. A bookshelf is placed next to it. A television set is placed beyond the bookshelf in the corner of the room. A dining table stands near the entrance to the kitchen. See how wonderfully we can actually create the picture of her living room. You can all see it clearly, can't you? You can also use words just like this. Now let's see the kitchen. Identifying the furnishings in the kitchen will help us to describe the kitchen. So let's identify the objects in the kitchen. Cabinet, wash basin, stove, refrigerator, dishwasher, microwave oven, knife, saucepan, frying pan, kettle, sieve, dustbin. Do you know what the difference between saucepan and frying pan is, by the way? As the name suggests, the frying pan is used for frying and the saucepan is used for preparing gravies and sauces for various dishes like the pasta. Now, with the help of these items of furnishings, can you try and describe Neha's kitchen? Let's see if you can. And let's see how well you do with this exercise. Think about the various objects. Think about the sentences that you can use to describe her kitchen. Discuss it with your friends and you'll be able to come up with a wonderful description. This brings us to the end of today's session. So this is how you can practice speaking about various rooms. Now your speech will no longer be restricted to, oh, this is a nice room, or that is a bad room. No, you will be able to express yourself accurately. That is, if you apply whatever you have learned today. So put in a lot of hard work and diligence in what you do, and be careful with the options that you take. This is how you'll really make a difference to the language that you speak. So it's goodbye for today, and I'll see you for your next session.